No. Thanks for watching. Alright. The real answer to that question is much the same as to a lot of questions in life. It depends. My science fiction short film called Price is Right spent the last year on the film festival circuit with pretty disappointing results. So today I want to do two things. Firstly, release my film publicly, link below, and secondly, to talk about my experience with Film Freeway and what I learned from that. And just to be clear, when I say Film Freeway, I mean the whole film festival thing. Film Freeway is just an aggregator and payment processor for 99% of film festivals out there. And there is nothing wrong with Film Freeway. It is easy to use and it gets the job done. But the overall experience with film festivals has left a bad taste in my mouth, because it seems like the whole thing is geared towards milking money from indie filmmakers who are already broke to begin with. Just imagine, you've just finished your short film or, God forbid, a feature, you barely made it through post-production, you begged, borrowed and stole, and now that it's over, it's done. Prepare to pay some more money on what is essentially gambling. I've submitted to over 30 festivals, got one win, 2 nominations, and that's it. I'm out $1,000, I lost a year of potential exposure, and I got nothing to show for it in terms of industry connections, opportunities, or just basic viewership. And look, I don't want to come across as a butthurt filmmaker who is whining and ranting because nobody understands my art.
Why, Lisa? Why?
This isn't about my film being good or bad. That's all subjective anyway, and that's not what this video is about. I'm a rational, practical person, and my main intention here is to analyze, learn and share. Say you're a filmmaker with a short film in one hand and $1,000 in another hand. What could you do to maximize the return on investment from promoting your film? And is Film Freeway a good avenue for that? See what I did there? Freeway Avenue? No? Alright, never mind. I think my first and main mistake was not taking a minute to set some goals about the whole film festival thing. I just thought that that's what you do. You finish your film and you submit it to festivals because that's how it's done. But I didn't ask myself why I do it. What exactly am I hoping to gain from it? And my answer, I think, would be pretty much the same as for most filmmakers out there. Firstly, I want people to see my film. The more the better, but preferably in a theater environment, not on their phone. Secondly, I want to get a sense of how good or bad my film is, to sort of benchmark it against the competition by looking at other people's work. Third, I would want to get a detailed and actionable feedback from industry professionals, and not just a pat on the back. There needs to be some sort of discussion or some sort of review process. Number 4, I would like to get noticed by established industry professionals. A dream scenario would be to get an agent or some kind of offer from a producer. I'm not saying it's reasonable to expect that, but at least that would be a tangible benefit. Number 5 is to make friends and connections with fellow filmmakers, especially people from other departments like composers, art directors, people who could potentially become my collaborators or my crew. So 5 points, let's call them viewership, benchmarking, feedback, opportunities and networking. And let me tell you, spending a bunch of money on Film Freeway is just not the best or even a good way to get any of that. Especially if you do it in a spray and pray kind of fashion as I did. But let's tackle them all one by one. First of all, in terms of eyeballs per dollar, film festivals are probably the worst money you can spend. If you really want people to see your film, release it publicly and spend that $1,000 on direct marketing. Use it for promoted posts on social media, sponsor a podcast episode, get on somebody's newsletter, or just straight up buy some good old-fashioned ads. Or better yet, do all of that. And if it's a theater exhibition you desire, just rent a local venue for a night and invite all your friends, family and crew members. It's not that expensive and you are guaranteed to have a good time. A At least you will have a sense of celebration and closure that you made a thing, it's out there, it's done. Because applying to film festivals doesn't really give you that same feeling. You are just basically sitting around waiting for the results of some obscure slot machine. During the COVID pandemic, the online-only film festivals have sprung up like mushrooms. And a lot of newer film festivals are also online-only, even if they're not completely transparent about it. And all of them are useless because most of the benefits of a film festival are predicated on it being an offline physical event. So as a general rule, I would advise only to focus on local film festivals that you can actually physically attend. And that might be just 2 or 3 film festivals a year. It's not a lot of money and you can really focus your efforts. I personally couldn't take my own advice here because I left Russia over a year ago and by this point I'm practically a stateless person. And my film being made back in Russia, of course, didn't exactly improve my chances at Western festivals. So if you are in a similar spot or you are in an area where there's no movie business and no film festivals going on, spending a bunch of money on foreign festivals that you can't actually attend makes very little sense. And vice versa, if you live in an area with a lot of great festivals, just make a habit of attending them. You don't even have to have a film in competition. Just get out there and meet people. And I should probably start by taking my own advice. Now, I realized all of that beforehand, but decided to go with the spray and pray approach anyway. I thought if I win a few of the small-time festivals, it would at least bolster my resume as a director or give some air of credibility to my film. And it soon became very clear to me that that is all superficial and meaningless. Don't you think it's pathetic when people put a graveyard of laurels from some no-name festivals on their thumbnails? You're not impressing anybody with that stuff. My film happened to win a small Paris Short Film Festival, and other than a tiny momentary endorphin spike, it didn't move the needle for me at all. So unless there is a prize fund, which there almost never is, the actual outcomes of film festivals as competitions are basically meaningless. It's the other stuff that you actually want, the opportunities, the networking, the experience, and that has nothing to do with winning or losing. You don't even have to be in competition to reap most of the benefits of the event. Sure, winning some big-time festival might increase your visibility for a time, but most likely it will not result in anything unless you do the legwork yourself. I listened to a lot of filmmaking podcasts and I heard a lot of stories about people winning some major festival, Cannes or something, and not hearing from anybody at all. Because film festivals are like all other networking events. You get out of them exactly what you put into them. And to be honest with myself, I suck at that. I'm terrible at meeting people, I don't make a good first impression, I'm terrified of public speaking, and I'm generally a quiet and introverted person. And that's an honest question to ask yourself. Are you willing to go out there and do the whole song and dance? Because if not, maybe a different promotional strategy is in order. So what's the takeaway? What would I do differently now? Well, first of all, I would narrow down my search area to only local offline festivals that demand no exclusivity or no premiere status. And I would research the hell out of them. I would see what kind of films they usually accept, what has won in the past, and whether it's even worth applying. And I would apply early, like really early. Because if a festival has a 6-month submission window, you can be sure that by month 3 they have everything decided and they are basically collecting money at that point. Next, I would commit to attending these festivals, whether selected or not, and I would come prepared with a short self-presentation, business cards and some kind of a to-do list for the event. So I won't be just meandering there picking my nose. And of course I would update my resume, my real website, social media stuff, the whole shebang, to put my best foot forward. And if I did manage to do some networking there, which I highly doubt, I would follow up via email with more details about myself. And in parallel to all that, I would release my film publicly and set aside a small monthly marketing budget to promote it, even just $100 a month for promoted posts on social media. And of course, I would do a whole bunch of YouTube content about my film, kind of like what I'm doing now. Because short films are just for that. Apart from being a great learning experience, they are your proof of work, your business card as a filmmaker. You'll never make any money from them, so it's in your best interest to squeeze out as much self-promotion out of them as possible. Well, I gotta get out of here, but I'm very curious to hear about your experiences with film festivals. Do you feel they're worth the trouble? Feel free to chime in with comments below. But that's gonna be it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.